Welcome to the CurvaCast. I'm Jay Gisson-Chimley, your host, and today is day 11 of the 12 days of January. It still is just like so wild to me to be this far into it. Like this month is flying by. It's the 11th already. Today I'm recording this podcast much later than I planned because my body had another plan. And I've been just dealing with pain all day. It's something that I've been dealing with since I was 16 years old. I'll be 56 this year, so 40 years of managing it. And just some days, I don't get ahead of it. And unfortunately, today was one of those days. But thankfully, here I am in the evening, feeling much better than I was when I woke up and throughout the day. I did go out because our dog has training on Saturday, so I did go out. I didn't participate in the training. I just sat there, but I did go out, so I'm glad that I did. But yeah, it's been a painful day. But like I said, it's something that I've dealt with for 40 years, and I hate to be like, oh, it's to like how you get so used to something that it's just a part of your life, but I'm always in the fight, right? I'm never going to just accept the fact that it happens. It's just another reminder for me to make sure that I'm doing the things right, that I'm stretching my body, which I have been. But some days you just can't control certain things. And moving my body, haven't been doing that as much, but I have been stretching my body. And I also just make sure that I keep, one thing I do make sure that I do is I keep the things that I need to make myself better on hand. I didn't take any pills. I have been trying to wean myself off pills for a very long time because I used to take pills like my whole life was pills at certain points over the past 40 years. And I just don't want to do that. But I have other things, like I said, my massaging, my TENS machine. I also use these pads called Well Knee. My parents gave them to me for my knees, but I use them today on my hip and my back. And now, like I said, I'm feeling much better. So I'm grateful for that. But here, day 11, we are going to talk about how can we be of service. Obviously, the events that are occurring around us now in Los Angeles and just in the world in general definitely makes me feel a little hopeless at times. But one thing I know for sure is that there's something we all can contribute in one way or another, and that is our time. To me, it is probably the most valuable thing that we have. So to be able to use that and give it to others, I think is truly a gift. And of course, now we are seeing people volunteering to help those impacted by the wildfires in California. And that is why I felt this was the perfect time to talk about volunteering. I have volunteered for decades. Like it's something that I truly, truly enjoy. And here in Chicago, there are quite a few organizations that you can volunteer with. Two that comes to mind because I've done things with them before is Chicago Cares, a huge organization that partners with other with schools and all kinds of things. I remember one time we painted a school, just so many things. Then there's smaller ones like One Brick that is working to build their chapter back up. They had chapters in a lot of cities. Like the first time I worked with One Brick, I actually lived in New York City. So I did volunteering with that chapter. That chapter no longer exists, but they're trying to keep the Chicago chapter active. And I'm honestly thinking about helping with one of the roles because every time you go on the site, they have all these different roles listed. And I don't know, every time I feel kind of led to help in that way. So I'm still pondering that and trying to figure out how I can make that work in my life because I just feel like it would be of so much value. But in the meantime, I go and I look at the calendar to see if there are things that I feel like I can physically do to help. For example, they have a volunteer session coming up at the Polar Plunge. Just one of two, I believe we have here. But they are doing volunteering for that. And I'm thinking about signing up for that one because I think that one will fit my schedule. And I think it's really important that we don't lose this chapter here. Like I said, they no longer have the New York chapter, but they do have other chapters around the country. Like they have Boston, I believe. San Francisco, Seattle, and maybe a couple others. So definitely check them out if they're in your area, or any other small ones, because there's always a need, right? Always a need, even when there's not tragedies and devastation and huge events like the wildfires. There's always a need for volunteering. But one of the reasons why I think volunteering is a small thing you can do to instantly improve your life is just because of how amazing it feels to be able to help others. I know there have been times when I volunteered when I was in the biggest funk and left just feeling so much better. Um, because I remember one time I did this one, we were outside handing out food. Yeah, it was a food thing. And I was not in the best of moods before I went, but I was determined to go because I'd signed up and I'm not going to back out. And I went and I met some people and we had a good time and it was fun. We met a lot of people who were really grateful for us being there and handing out the food. And so once I left, I just felt grateful to be able to do it and felt so much better. So definitely there's a self-serving part to it, where you can help yourself while helping others. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Um, I think also when you go to these events, you become more confident in like just meeting a variety of people, right? Because like I said, that food event, like there was so many people, and not just, the people who volunteer with me, but like I said, so many people were coming to pick up the food because we had a lot of veggies and a lot of vegetables was that particular one. And the people who were coming, they had good energy, good spirits, so we were having really great conversations. So that's always great as well because you never know who you might meet, right? So in addition to, the mental health aspect of it, of feeling better after volunteering, there's also, like a community and like in a business vibe you could get from it as well because you're meeting new people. You never know what kind of connections you're making when you go to these events because usually if someone's volunteering, they're a certain kind of person, right? And they might be the kind of people that you want in your life. So that's another aspect of it. Also, don't forget the most important part is the community and social impact, right? We're seeing that now on the ground, in LA. I saw this one young man. He is very popular. I don't know what he does. I just saw he had a ton of millions and millions of followers, over 5 million here on YouTube alone. And he went to his storage and he said he was donating his squishmallows. I know those are those little teddy bear kind of things that the folks love. And he took them there and he just shared like a little video and just some little bits and pieces of how happy, getting those little stuffed marshmallows was making people. It's something just that simple. It was a big thing for him, I believe, because he's been collecting these. Obviously, I saw on his YouTube that he was looking for some rare Christmas one. So obviously, this is a part of his thing, and he's been collecting them because he had a whole bunch of them. But he said that he, I guess that was just something he felt like he could do, right? Because sometimes we feel helpless, but that's why I said the one thing we have usually is time. And it doesn't always have to be physical. It doesn't have to always be in person. I know for a fact that Chicago Cares also has like virtual opportunities, and they also have like opportunities where you could do like administrative work, things like that. Also here in Chicago, I know we have like a lot of food volunteer opportunities because food insecurity is real. So there's a lot of that. But back to the whole, benefits for the person giving. Like I said, career opportunities, possibilities of meeting people is definitely a benefit to volunteering. Not to mention, once again, the mental health aspect. And then, some companies like to have their employees volunteering. They view that as a very positive thing. Go on people's resumes, if they are, frequent volunteers with certain organizations, that's a positive as well. So there's so many different positives to volunteering your time and being of service to others. So here for day 11, I want to encourage you to consider improving your life by being of service to others. And tomorrow is day 12, and I'm so excited. I've enjoyed this series, but also after doing Vlogmas and before that, just what was that, Vlogtober, and I vlogged a lot in November. It'll be kind of nice to not be like, oh, I gotta do this every single day. I gotta post, gotta post, gotta post, or every single day I gotta record, record, record. Yeah, so see you tomorrow for day 12.